Hi everyone and welcome to Dennis Deep Cuts, the 26th edition of this wonderful YouTube series that I'm working on. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects in the world. We're going to talk about hardcore, specifically new hardcore. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to come straight out and say it. I think hardcore has never been as interesting as it is right now. It's never been this exciting. It's never been this creative. I think the whole new scene of hardcore music is just wonderful. There's so many good bands. There's so much happening in that world right now. I mean, we could talk about, like, you know, is it the best hardcore? Is DC early 80s better, or maybe New York hardcore is that better, or maybe, you know, in the mid 90s or early 2000s? Who knows? But one thing that I do know is that there's so many good records, there's so many good bands out there right now that it blows my mind. And I just love hardcore, you know. I'm one of those people that, I hate the gatekeepers. I hate the people that, like, you know, like, hardcore died, the scene died, and then they just say that the week when they stopped going to shows. I never stopped going to shows. I never stopped being interested in the scenes around me and what's happening. And right now I think it's like a golden age of hardcore, and it is interesting. It's getting quite commercial. It's getting like a little bit of a hype around it, and I just figure, like, I'll bust out 10 records. I'll talk about some new hardcore music, and we'll see where we end up. I've had a super busy week last week, and this week is no exception, so I'm just going to do this short and sweet. Yeah, I don't want to disappoint. Before we head out, though, I want to talk about hardcore, or hardcore adjacent. My band, Venice Casino, it's the new band that I have with Sarah on vocals and bass. I play rhythm guitar, and we have our friend Kaisa that plays lead guitar, and our friend Thomas that plays the drums. We recorded a record last year that is finally coming out. Today we spent hours and hours spray painting, screening covers and artwork, and we're playing in Umeå in next weekend at the Punk Fest, and we're going to sell these at the Punk Fest, and then we're going to sell them at a festival on Saturday next weekend as well. And then if we have any left, I will post about this on my social media and the Venice Casino's social media, and then you can buy them straight from me. There's only 100 of these made. I mean, I think we pressed 500 copies, but we made 100 of these, like, really, really cool artwork. And the band's great. I think there'll be like a video for our first single coming out maybe next week. So check out Venice Casino, check out our Instagram and all that nonsense, and then in 2 weeks, hopefully you can buy a couple of these records. But let's dig into some new hardcore. Let's do it. We have a small venue in our hometown called Verket, which is like a small punk venue, and last year I went and saw two bands play, Lysol and Electric Chair. I thought they were both great. I thought the Electric Chair was fantastic. They just put out a new record called Act of Aggression. This is, speaking of creative and you know, experimental, it's not really that. It's just like super solid, old school, thrashy hardcore, just the way we like it. Yeah, they have one more record out, and they're just great. Electric Chair, not to be confused with Electric Chairs with Wayne County, with Jane County. But yeah, check it out. Super. If you like your hardcore to be short and thrashy and fast, Electric Chair. New record, Act of Aggression. As you might know, I just came home from the Fake Names tour, which was fantastic. And if you want, check out the link below. There's an entire Fake Names show from the Black Cat in DC. It's pretty marvelous. Yeah, check it out. I'll leave a YouTube link below so you can see that. One of the bands we played with when we played a floor show, we played in Oxnard, and we were supposed to play a bar, and the bar got shut down because someone sued someone. You know, it was America. So we ended up playing at a dance hall at a floor show, which was pretty awesome. And one band that we played was this band, Headcut. Headcut's not really, I mean, it's not really hardcore, but it's kind of hardcore punk adjacent. It's more kind of a dark gothic punk rock. I found some traces of Paradisus Permanente and stuff like that in it, and they were just fantastic. They're really, really good. This record came out last year. It came out on I guess their own label called Back Cave Records, and then Altered Dune put this record out, and this is number 27 of 40. But Headcut, if you like sort of gothic punk rock, and half the songs are sung in Spanish, and they were fantastic. So check out Headcut. One hardcore band that's been around for quite a while is, of course, Long Knife out of Portland. They put out a record last year called Curb Stomp Earth, and this is just amazing. I think it's one of last year's best records, but it was not on my top list because I didn't own the record at that time. It's kind of like the Poison Idea style of hardcore. It has a touch of metal to it, but the songwriting is amazing. The playing is great. It's their third record, and I think it's by far their best one. So if you like that kind of like Poison Idea tinged with a slight metal edge to it, but it just, I mean, it doesn't sound like Poison Idea, but that kind of style of hardcore. This record is just phenomenal. Long Knife, yeah, it's great. Let's talk about a Swedish band that's definitely not a straight up hardcore band, but they're very hardcore adjacent, and some of the stuff is super punky and super weird, and I'm talking about a band called Isotope Soap. This is their first record, an Artifact of Insects. They did put out a record last year that I don't have yet, so that's why I'm talking about this one. When I was a young punk, one of my favorite hardcore bands from Sweden was a band called Rape Teenagers. And one of the guys, the singer from Rape Teenagers, is singer in Isotope Soap. And there are people from bands like Regulations, Ghost, Viagra Boys. There's a whole slew of really cool people playing in this band. And it's keyboard driven, a lot of drum machines, but it's super quirky and really punky, and it's just fantastic. And I need to get my hands on the new Isotope Soap record. But yeah, check it out. They're a great Swedish band. One big frustration when we were touring with the Fake Names tour was that when we played New York and then we played Philly, the word on the street was that High Vis was playing down the street, which was frustrating for two reasons, because High Vis are quite popular, but also High Vis are phenomenal. And I would have liked to go and see them play, but no such luck. I had to play my own shows. High Vis are from London. They have 2 records out. This one came out last year called Blending. And I mean, if you know hardcore, you know about these guys already. But it's a weird mix of like shoegazing, Britpop, some the replacements, and then a touch of like New York hardcore. And since I got this record, I've been playing it non-stop. It's that good. I mean, the first record is also great, but this is definitely one of those bands that kind of transcends genres. They are a part of the hardcore world, and they're playing with a whole bunch of hardcore bands in Philly, but their sound is just something completely different, completely new. I hear so much of like Britpop. I hear traces of The Cult. I hear like, you know, Riot on the Charlatans, and then all of a sudden there's like a bold touch to it. It's super weird. It sounds like it won't make sense, but it makes perfect sense. And this is, I mean, yeah, one of last year's best record, and I didn't own it, so it didn't make the list. I might have to make a new best records of 2022 part 2, I guess. But High Vis, they're just phenomenal. And in general, there's a whole slew of really great hardcore bands from the UK, like Shoving the Gang and the Chisel, and there's, you know, a whole great scene of great hardcore bands. And one of the bands that was playing with High Vis in Philly when we played down the street, I mean, also Suicidal Tendencies played the other side of the street, but one of the bands that played was End It from Baltimore. Baltimore Hatecore. It's really some Flat Spot Records. Some Flat Spot Records. It just keeps putting out really, really great music. Check it out. It's fantastic. Baltimore Hatecore, Unpleasant Living from last year. And this is just like really metally, kind of moshy, 90s kind of hardcore. I love this record. It's just phenomenal, fantastic. I love hardcore. Let's talk about some local hardcore, sort of. Here's the band Exile. Three other guys from Umeå, but they all live in Stockholm now. But it's very Umeå hardcore heavy. Chris that plays the bass and Andre that plays the drum was, of course, in DS13. And then Andre was also in a band called UX Violheads with the singer Torbjörn. And he's been in a bunch of cool bands as well. And Andre that plays drums was, of course, in The Vicious. And he's also in Invasion with me. So if you don't want to hear him playing, you know, post-punk tribal drums, but you want to hear him play super fast hardcore, Exile is the album for you. From 2021, I think they had a new 7-inch that came out last year. There's another Chris in the band that plays guitar that I don't really know, but he's been in a bunch of grindcore bands, so maybe that's something. This is a phenomenal record, one of my favorite records of 2021, and you want to support your friends, so if you see Exile, check them out. Great. And here's a record that I talked about already, that I touched upon when I talked about my favorite records of 2022, and I didn't have it. And I was like, oh, it's maybe my favorite record. Soulglow, Diaspora Problems. They're from Philly. One of the most creative, unique, and weird hardcore records I've heard in ages. It's really some Epitaph records, of course. And it's quirky, it's spastic, it's uniquely original. It doesn't really sound like anything at all I ever heard. There are traces of a little bit of everything, and I love this record. It is a bit fascinating that, I mean, they're playing like Coachella, and there's a big hype around them, but their music is wild in the best sense of the word. It's wild. Yeah, I can't praise this band enough. Soulglow is just an amazing band. All right, another band on Flat Spot Records. It's Scowl with their brand new EP, Psychic Dance Routine. This just came out in 2023. They have one album out that came out 2 years ago. They're from Santa Cruz. And I just gotta say this, do believe the hype. They are extraordinarily good, and from all the live footage I've seen, they seem to be an exceptional live band, and I can't wait to see them live and, you know, see what they're all about. But this is an EP. It's great, and their album is pretty awesome as well. And I do think they're working on a new full-length record, so keep your eyes out for that. And I mean, as I said, do believe the hype. Scowl is amazing. All right, the last record that I'm going to talk about is, predictably enough, it's the Turnstile record from 2021, Glowon. And I mean, I'm a guy that I like to give praise where praise is due. And I love it when bands grow and they develop into their own. Turnstile started as pretty much like I wouldn't say generic, but like kind of an ordinary youth crew type of hardcore band. And on this record, they're just, it's one of the best records I've heard in years. It's fun, it's creative, it's all over the place, it's unpredictable, and it's catchy, and it's hooky, and it's just a great record. And it's one of those bands too, like, yeah, believe the hype. They are that good. They're definitely you know, something brand new, and they're definitely one of those bands that are going to take punk and hardcore into the next onto the next level, I think. And can't wait to see what they're going to do next. And I've never seen them live, so I can't wait to see them live. I'm super excited about seeing them live. Yeah, Turnstile, just fantastic. And there you have it, 10 hardcore records that I like. They're really new. There's a ton more good hardcore out there. I haven't, as I said, I mean, this is just me scratching the surface. Hardcore is alive and well, and if you don't think that it is, it's probably your fault. So check out these bands, and check out the Venice Casino. Where'd it go? The Venice Casino stuff. And then I'll see you all next week, I hope. Thanks for checking it out. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, spread the gospel of Dennis Deep Cuts, and force me to continue to be your nerd on YouTube. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.